Welcome back to this clown's garage. In this video I have a 79 Camaro. So this pertains to any Camaro slash Firebird from 1970 to 1981. It's the same procedure. I'm gonna have a couple of videos on this on my channel, but in this video I'll be showing you how to change the spring. I'm putting a lowering spring in the front of this car to drop it 2 inches. Also check out my channel on how to change the upper ball joint and the lower ball joint and the shock on this car in the front. But those videos will be shorter, and like I said, they're going to be on my channel. But for the full version how to get in there, you can continue watching this video while I'll be changing the spring. So let's get her done. Okay, to jack up this car, I don't know how well you can see this, you put a jack stand over here on his frame rail over here, and another one on the other side, and jack the car up. Underneath the engine, you have the K-member here, so you jack it up from over there. So let's begin taking this wheel off. These are 13/16, these lug nuts, so I just take these off. I'm gonna take the caliper off now. So these are 2 Allen-headed slider bolts, and these are 3/8 Allen heads. So I'm gonna go ahead and take those out. Alright, now I'm going to leave the pins in, and I'm going to go over here and push the piston in with a little pry bar. I'm going to stick it where the vented part of the rotor is. Just like that. Now there should be some play there. Now you can go ahead and take these bolts off, and this whole thing comes right off. Now I'm gonna get a bungee and tie it up over here. Alright, so I just put the bungee through here, and I'm gonna hang it over here. Just like that. So that's off to the side, and there's no tension on the hose, because my hose don't like tension. Now go over here, take the tie rod out. You grab your pair of dikes. My favorite tool in my tool chest is my dikes. And once you straighten that out on the other side, you just pop it out a little bit, and you just grab it here, and you just twist it off like that. 11/16 bolt here. Alright, now I get the pickle fork and start whacking away. You can rent this from AutoZone at the free rental tool program. If you don't want to ruin this boot, there's also, you can put a tool in here that split this off for you. You can also whack it here with a hammer really hard a couple times, and this should break loose. But since I'm changing the tie rod here, I don't care if I mess up the boot. So I'm going to go ahead and whack this off. Hit it like a man. There you go. Now I took the end link off. The top is 11/16. The bottom is 16 millimeter. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip this bad boy off. Just like that. And now, just pop these out. Just pull it from the bottom. And remember how these go in order, so you put them back the same way. Back to my dikes. To get the bottom cotter pin, just straighten that out as much as you can, and try to whack it to come through the hole. Just grab it on this side with the dikes. Grab it and twist it out. Just like that. Same thing with the top ones. And you just grab and turn. Just like that. The bottom is a 22 millimeter. just crack it loose with the wrench. Now be careful here because you don't want to go all the way out with it. Just enough so there's a little bit of a gap underneath. I'll show you why. Because we're going to use the tension of the spring to knock it off the inside of the knuckle. Crack it loose. Just like that. And thread it out. Up to there. And we're going to use the force of the spring to pop that off. Now, let's crack the bottom one, the top one, sorry, the same way. The top's a 19 millimeter, so go ahead and crack that one loose. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to leave this one also with a bit of a little clearance in here, but the nut is still threaded on. So now go ahead and crack these both loose. Alright, now you could knock it here, the knuckle with a hammer, until the spring tension overcomes it and knocks this loose. Or since I've changed the ball joint anyway, I'm going to put the fork right here and knock that loose. And you'll notice as the tension goes down and pops this off, it's going to get caught on the nut. That's why we kept it still on there threaded. So we'll go ahead and knock this out now. Just like that.
German power.
And now we can do the top. That's it, and that one cracked loose. So let me go ahead now and take the shock off. Now this shock has two bolts underneath that come with like two little clip nuts, lock nuts on top in the middle where the control arm is, and you also have a bolt on top. So now I'm gonna go and take the bottom bolts off. These are half inch bolts. And one here. And you see these are the clip nuts that go into the control arm. So now I'm going to go on top and take the top bolt off. Alright, now that up here where the wheel well is, that's a 9/16 nut on top. Okay, you could use either a 14 millimeter or 9/16 on top here to turn that. And on top, you gotta use an adjustable wrench to hold it in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and situate this. So that's how you do it. And you just squeeze these together and you should be able to turn this loose. Just like that. Just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Alright, so this is boogered up here. This is probably an original shock here. It's been forever. And as you can see here, the nut is also stripped, this car. So we're just gonna take the spindle out, pop the control arm up, and I'm just gonna cut this with my whiz wheel. So if this happens to you, this is what you do. Alright, now jack this up over here until you see the control arm go up. Then over here you can see some space. You can take that off. Now here, when I turn the nut, it turns with the stud, as you can see there. So what you gotta do in this case is you gotta put a little pry bar under here and put tension on this nut. So as you can see here, I put the pry bar here and I'm pressing down on it up here. Pressing down on it and turning this.
There we go.
So that's how you take it off with the stud spinning with the nut. I had to put a bigger pry bar here because the one I was holding was too small. So I'm gonna go ahead now, and that came right off. Now you can take the bottom castellated nut off. Now this whole thing comes out in one shot. Over here you just push up on it, and over here you just pull out, up and out. Alright, now to take the shock off. This is a good thing that this happens. I could show you what happens when this happens. How to take it out. You just push up on the control arm and just go ahead and cut this out. Damn piece of shit. Turn it around, and I'm gonna do this side now. Cut it right there. Might have enough room now to pop it out, just like that. And let's see if we can get in there. There you go. Done. And look how bad this shock is. Barely goes up. She won't like it when it doesn't go up. Now you're ready to drop the control arm. Be careful nobody stands over here, because the spring might shoot out. So go slowly. You might have to drop, you might have to raise the car with the regular jack that's in the middle. In this case you don't have to. Sorry guys, but I ended up just kicking this down a little bit and this popped out. So I couldn't really get a shot of that. I feel really bad, but anyway, if that doesn't come out, the best thing to do is put a pry bar in here, and be careful when you push the control arm down. This doesn't pop out and hit anybody. So be very, very careful when you do this. Perform at your own risk.
The clown is not responsible.
That's right. So in this case, I didn't shoot it, but all I did was kick this down and this popped right out. Now if you're putting the spring back in, make sure, as you can see here, this is real close to the coil here, and this isn't. The part where it's real close to the coil, it's flatter here, so that goes on top. Down here, this isn't as close, so that actually has to go right here. You see that second hole? That end of the coil should go right here and cover the second hole, partially cover it, or fully cover it at the tip over there. Should not go past the second hole, because that's how you index this. If you don't do this, one side will be higher than the other. These are the Detroit Speed Engineering, part number 031107-550. That's what we're putting in. Most of these cars didn't come with factory isolators on top. I'm gonna put some anyway. I cut a rubber hose, I cut it in half, then I cut it in half again. So I'm gonna use this right on top here with a piece of duct tape. Alright, so I put the pieces of rubber over there. Now, like I said, you gotta put the end of the coil touching the second, either partially covering it or fully covering it until the tip over here with the last coil, because that's how you index it. Over here you're gonna feel a bump. You have to be right before the bump. So somewhere over there is good. But I'll put the top in first. Just like that. And now we're going to put the jack underneath here and jack this up. Alright, so I just positioned it in place. Now I'm going to get the top in place and the bottom's going to be a little more out. And I'm just going to pry it in with the pry bar as we jack it up with this jack that I have underneath. So I'm going to go ahead now and put the top in where it's supposed to be. Is it recording?
Yeah.
Alright, so as you can see in there, not sitting in squarely yet. So I gotta move it around until it sits in there. Just like that. And this, the bottom over here, I have it positioned so it'll go where I showed you before. So the top is sitting good now. And now we're just gonna try to get the jack underneath and jack this bad boy up. I reposition this towards the tip over here. You have to be very careful in doing this. Also put a jack underneath here. Now that you have it over there, you can try to push that in with the pry bar. Just like that. As you can see here, the hole is right here, so it's right on it. So we're good. Now I'm just going to jack this all the way up and put the spindle in here, connect these ball joints together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. As an extra precautionary measure, I put a jack stand over here in the back to hold this control arm up, and I repositioned the jack over here on this end. So if this doesn't fit now, I'm going to have to jack up the control arm a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and see if this will fit. So that's good. And that's not good, so we're going to have to jack this up. So my lovely assistant camera girl Brianna is jacking this up. And that's it, we're good. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and catch the nuts. So catch the top nut and catch the bottom nut. So I'm just gonna tighten these down until they're really tight, fairly tight, and then I'm gonna move the castellated nut until I see the hole and the stud for the cotter pin to go through. Now that you line the hole, you put it through the hole, the cotter pin, and you just grab it and just bend it down. And you're good. Do the same thing on the bottom. Okay, now we're going to put the end link on. Put a little bit of anti-seize on the threads and also on the body of the bolt. So when you take it on later on, especially if you live in a humid, very humid environment, it'll be easy to take off if you want to service the front end again. And now over here you're going to have to drop. Not that. You have to drop the jack so you have some space here between the control arm and the sway bar. Now if you run into this problem, you can't really fit it in there you have to get a pry bar and push this up. We'll go ahead and do that. Now you jack it up again. The car has to sit on its weight, so once you see the controller moving with the body of the car, that means it's on the weight. So this should be moving in unison with this. Just tighten the bitch down. I'm gonna tighten this down now until you see these bushings being squished a little bit, and also you feel a little difference of resistance in the ratchet as you're tightening it down. If this is loose, right there, I felt the difference in the ratchet, and these are all squished down a little bit, and we're good. If you feel if this is loose, over bumps you're gonna be hearing some clunking noises, so that's good. Now to put the shock in, I put a little blue thread locker here. Put the spacer, bushing. This goes through the body over here. Then you put the bushing and the spacer on top. This comes with 2 nuts. I'm gonna put both of them on just so when the first one can't back out. And over here, you put a open-end adjustable wrench to hold that from spinning. I'm gonna go ahead and insert this bad boy from underneath. And as you put that in, you gotta guide it to the hole, baby. See here, it's through. Now I'm just gonna put the bushing on top and a spacer and tighten this bad boy down. Now these go in here and you put the bolts through those. That one's good. Do this one. Okay, and you're good. Now I'm gonna get the sliders. I'm gonna get a little bit of fine sandpaper and just sand these down a little bit, just to get them a little shiny. These are good. And same thing with the other one. Now I'm gonna put some brake caliper grease on these bolts before I put them on, and same thing with the other one. Now put the caliper back on. Align everything in the back. You're done. Alright, so this is it. As you can tell, the front is dropped. I don't know how well you can tell, but we're also going to drop the back of this car, so check out my channel for that. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. You know you want to. Also, like me, share me, do the hell you want to me. There's plenty of time to go around. See ya!